This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, top of the day to everyone. It's if you're listening live for the first time, it is officially St. Paddy's Day. So I guess maybe we should just throw out, do you have the luck of the Irish when it comes to writing your book, publishing your book, marketing your book, promoting your book, fill in the blank your book, or do you need to find another strategy? And since St. Paddy's Day is only one day of the year, I'd vote for another strategy. So one of the things that I wanted to play with you, and again, this is Judith Briles, and it's just going to be me today because I wanted to go through some of the essentials that every author needs to be tuned in from the get-go for what they're going to need. And what are some of these essentials that will start separating them from who are the players, who are the not, who are the beyond the self-publishing, sometimes, stigma that comes along. How do you separate yourself so you kind of soar above the crowd, since there are millions, that's with an M, of books that are published every year. So I thought it makes sense to let's look at some of the alphabet soup that you're going to be looking at and dealing with. And the first one is going to start with just the old ISBNs. If you're a member of the AuthorU-Your community, you know that when you go for your ISBNs, that's the International Standard Book Number. So in effect, an ISBN is the Social Security number for your book. And that in America, in the United States, there is only one, count them one, official dispenser of ISBNs, and that is R.R. Bowker. If you're a member of the AuthorU.org community, you actually get a nice discount when you go in and use the code you get as a member to purchase your ISBNs. Now, can you buy them other places? Yes, but it's an indirect. Whoever you're buying them from, they are actually registered in their name. They are known as they own it. They own it. So if you decide to terminate with whoever it is that you're working with, and they have slapped their, who knows how many they have. Maybe they about 100, maybe they have about 1,000, who knows. That if you terminate with them, that means that you have to go back. Number one, you'll get a new copyright page because the ISBN that's on it, which belonged to the other company, is no longer valid. Number two, you're going to have to do a new barcode with the ISBN on the back of your book because it also is no longer valid. Then you want to go up into Bowker and you want to formally register that, by golly, this is your book, belongs to you, because if anyone goes into, let's say, their favorite local bookstore and they give your title and your book, when you do that, you register the title with the appropriate ISBN. And by the way, most of these pay-to-publish companies never do this kind of thing. Then you will come up and they can contact you for copies. If it's an independent, they will usually don't have a problem doing it. If it's Barnes & Noble or Books A Million or some of the biggies in the chain operation, Walmart, Target, they're going to want to go through one of the distributors like Ingram, like Baker and Taylor, etc. But there's strategies to get yourself into that, even if you're print on demand via Ingram services. So your ISBN, just think of it as the Social Security number of what you need and where you go. So where do you go? What I would do, my recommendation is simply this. You go to My Identifiers, and that's just INDINFIERS.com. It's the official website. You're going to click on the bullet in the blue box that says, "Are you a new publisher applying for a block of ISBNs?" And you will click on that, and then it says continue your application process. And you're going to have to create an account. You will click, this is brand new, I'm a new Bowker customer. You'll then fill in the column for your profile and your company. Do not say you are self-published. Just say you're independent. You're an independent publisher. Come up with a name for your company, which you should have done, before you start this process for your publishing. And do not, hear me loudly, do not have your personal name in it, your company name in it. You want it to sound like a real publishing company. All right, for me, although my name's Judith Briles, the name of my publishing imprint that was started 16 years ago is Mile High Press. I live in Denver, Colorado, Mile High City. And so that was a natural for us to pull down, and no one else was using it that was certainly affiliated with the publishing literary community. So Mile High Press is what belongs to me. It's registered with the state. We have a trademark. It actually is a DBA of one of our companies, but it stands alone with that. So you complete your profile, you add your email, and then you say, create, and then you want to buy. Now you can buy one if you don't have our discount. You can buy one for $125, or you can buy 10 for $295 on that, and you can buy 100, or you can buy 500, or by golly, you can buy 1,000 or 10,000. Okay, so we're not going to go there. But if you are, let me just throw this on the table. If you're really writing, if you are going to have multiple books, and if you've been listening to our program for a while, I often say books breed books. So if you're in that scenario thinking, I do have some other things, because one of the great things that you can do as you start to blog, which is going to be one of our tips to get into, is you really start to blog. You can repurpose those babies. And when you start finding a synergistic to them, a common theme to them, a evolution to them that are in the same type of a theme/category, guess what? You could actually make another little book out of those. So each book you do is going to have at least 2 ISBNs. One for the print, whether you do an offset print run or you do a print on demand, you're going to have an ISBN on that. And you're going to have one for the corresponding ebook. If you decide to make an audiobook, that's 3 of them. Now, one of the things that I would suggest as you are in layout of your book and you're creating the copyright page is you will put the ISBN for whether it's hard, and you have an ISBN for hardback, you'll have an ISBN for a paper, you'll have an ISBN for an ebook, and if you do an audio, you'll have an ISBN for an audio. If you do another edition or a full-blown revision of your book, guess what? That will have a new ISBN. And why would you want to do it? Because you probably think, wait a minute, why can't I use the same old one again? Because it keeps you current. And if you do a revision of 1/3 of your book, you need to slap on that title page, your cover page and your title page, even though it's the same title, fully revised. Now, 1/3 means you got a new book. Put a new ISBN on it. Put your copyright date. You'll have let's say you did the original book in 2012, and we're looking at 2016, and you're saying, I do need to tap dance around it. I really need to spruce it up. I need to bring it current. I've got more stories, experience, etc. That you decide to do something for this year, that you would have both copyright dates on it, the 2012 and the 2016. And then what you would do is put the new ISBN on it. You would re-announce it. You've re-registered. You're going to go back to Bowker.com and or myidentifiers.com, but you can also go to Bowker, BOWKER.com, and you're going to put in and tie in the title and new edition with it, and then the search people, which would be in this case libraries, bookstores, the search people would know that that this is a brand new spanking baby, and if we're going to be ordering it, by golly, we probably should be going for that one. So what you do is you modify your copyright page to reflect whichever ISBN is current, but I would make sure I would include also the ebook on it. And if you're going to do an audio, even if you don't have it done, but it's in the game plan, I would put that on it, because why have to redo things once they're in place? So that's a strong tip for you. Now, going back to get your ISBNs, you're going to buy them. I would not buy less than 10. So when I started down that path was literally that you're going to be using at least 2 of them all at once. If you're going to start breeding books, which I've discovered, just finishing, I'm in layout right now, book number 35, that just finishing them means that you may have something else starting up again and getting going on that. So it's be tuned into that and make sure that you have your ISBNs. I would get a minimum of 10. If you really have a big vision for yourself, if you see yourself doing multiple things, and the idea that I just kind of threw on the table here in the middle of all this, that if you are a blogger, which in my opinion you ought to be, and you're starting to put a development of series together, maybe, they're 500 words or they're 1,000 words, collectively, you could have another little book. You could have something as a teaser. You might want to add an offer on your website to your followers, and that you could bring those about and bring that in and gather names. So you're giving it away on your website, but you could eventually put it into your store. Maybe you pull it off in a month, your freebie cycle's going, and my gosh, you're going to bring a whole bunch of other blogs together, write a new little intro to it, not long, put it together, offer it as a freebie to get more people to come to your website and register, so you capture their name and email. That's the name of the game. And then you eventually pull that off, and you're going to offer it on your store for sale for whether it's $5 or $10. It's a little book, but it's a way to start developing product. Each one of those babies needs an ISBN. All right, with that, we're going to be coming back with some other ideas. I'm going to be jumping into the LCCNs, which is the Library of Congress number. You need to know about the some of the other alphabet soup as we follow along, but these are all essentials that you're going to need to, if here's the big if you want to be a seriously successful author. And my personal goal, and I've gotten to know a lot of our listeners over the 3 years we've been on the air, is for you to be that and really be stars, shine above the crowd, and really put it together. So ISBNs is essential. Don't publish without it. Don't get them unless you get them through the official distributor, which is R.R. Bowker, and you go through their website, which is myidentifiers.com. This is Judith Briles. You're listening to AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. We'll be right back after some great words from our fabulous sponsors who bring our show to you every week.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Give your book the best shot at getting buzz before it's even released. JKS Communications has been leading the book publicity industry for more than a decade. From producing some of the earliest book trailers to recently creating what Shelf Awareness calls the world's longest book tour, our team of publicists work tirelessly, smart, and with the goal of getting you the best attention possible. Our family of publicists come from journalism and publishing backgrounds with great experience and a passion for books. And our family of authors all across the globe are supportive of one another. We read your book and talk to you to understand your goals and lifestyle before sending you a proposal. We only represent books and authors that we believe in. Let's get going. Go online at jkscommunications.com.
Is there a book in you or another? AuthorU will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, AuthorU is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join AuthorU today through its website at AuthorU.org. Follow AuthorU on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at AuthorU, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. AuthorU, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so in addition to the ISBN, other goodies that you need. And a lot of authors just don't think so much about it. And I can often tell a whole self-published gag with the lack of the Library of Congress number. And there's two that you're looking for. One is the LCCN, and the other is the CIP. And that's called a CIP block. And the CIP block stands for Cataloging in Publication. It's also known as the CIP DATA. And what it is it's like a bibliography. And it's a record that's prepared by the Library of Congress for a book that has not yet been published. So contrary to what many authors and small publishers believe, that it's really not possible to get a CIP directly from the Library of Congress if your book is print on demand or POD. And typically what they're looking for is a press that has published at least 3 authors or 3 titles, and get around that. So what can you do? Well, there are groups out there that specialize in working with you. So one that I want to bring into your attention is called the Donahue Group, that can get you in the back door if you're not publishing other authors or you don't have multiple titles under your belt yet. And the Donahue is spelled DONOHUE. Its website is www.DGI-Inc. So that would be Dog George Igloo Inc.com. So what you want to know is that if your game plan is going to get into a library, librarians and libraries want publishers to have CIP data, and it's kind of like a little not encrypted or anything, but it's their own coding, and you put that on the copyright page. And here's what it shows. When you get this little baby, you are a serious publisher, not a one-book pony. So very smart to keep that in mind as you move into the process here. All right, so CIP. So we have ISBNs, we've got CIP, and then what we want to do is talk about your LCCN. And really, all these little goodies are called, or what we call in publishing, when we're laying out a book, the front matter. The front matter. So what else goes in the front matter besides your ISBN, which is going to be, all this is on the copyright page. So copyright page is going to be right up front. It normally will be placed behind the title page within the book. So on the copyright page, you'll also identify what the ISBN is. What if you have CIP data, you will have your LCCN, which I'm going to jump into in a sec. And then other things that you could have also on your copyright page for example, if you want to order bulk sales, or you say something like this, that multiple orders or multiple copies are available at a discount directly from the publisher. Contact it at, and then your publishing name. Now, it could be, and what I would recommend, that when you select a publishing name, you also get the .com for it. And it could be that you just get the .com and then you redirect it to your personal website. That's fine. I'm not going to worry about that. But again, makes you look like one of the big kids on the block. So you could have that. You could have the phone number for them to call. You could give them an email to call on that. But please do not use Yahoo and Hotmail and AOL to direct someone to what looks like a publishing company. If you have the .com, and if you want to do an email, get a Gmail. And Gmail actually has the capability of creating your own, even though instead of saying Susan Gonzalez at gmail.com, it could actually be Susan at Gonzalez.com, or it could be Susan at what your publishing company name is .com. Gmail has the capability of customizing, even though it's a Gmail email address. So that's kind of a little tip to throw at you on this day. So let's jump in now to the LCCN. This is a Library of Congress number, and again, as with the CIP, if you want your libraries to carry your book, you got to get this. It's the LCCN, and that you apply for it directly through the loc.gov on that. So I'm going to give you the website. I'm going to spell it all out because I'm going to give you all the links. So pay attention to this. It's going to go to the HTTP, ://. Then you have the www.loc, Larry, Orange, Charlie, loc.gov, G-O-V, /publish, /PCN, that would be Paul, Charlie, Nickel, PCN, /new account .html. That will take you directly to applying for it. Now, here's what you need to understand. It's a two-part. You need to click on the little goodie that's called Application to Participate link, and that will take you to an online form. And this is where your two-step starts. You've got to fill out the metadata, all the information about it, to be accepted initially into the program. They respond very quickly, and that email will come back to you. And this is all done by email now. It used to be snail mail. The email will come back to you confirming that you can proceed. And then you will fill out a final online form to complete. Typically, it used to take a week to 2 weeks. Typically, this is done in 48 hours. It's important to stay on top of this process And here's what happens. Too many authors, they get to the application to participate link, and they fill that part out, and then they stop. They think we're done. Okay, I got it. And they keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And they didn't do the second part. They didn't keep noticing, maybe it went to the spam folder. Maybe, you've got some other area that does some blocking of unfamiliar addresses. And the one that I gave you, the loc.gov/publish/PCN/new account, may not be familiar. And so the email gremlins will do their blocking. So stay on top of it. If you don't hear from them within 48 hours, you go back to them, email it again, and actually you can track down a phone number to go after it. So get that. You'll get your response. By the way, when you buy ISBNs, you get them instantly. You'll get your block instantly. Make a special folder for publishing essentials or whatever it is, publishing front matter, whatever it is that will identify what it is that you're doing it in, your jargon, your language. Everyone has something different that pulls it together. So get that, drop it in, your copy in there. I also would print it out, and I would have a separate folder for all these essentials, the ISBN, the CIP, your LCCN, all that, so you can get to it. I would have your registration for your state, for your that verifies that you're registered in your state as your publishing company. I would have any of those essentials. You ought to have a file. These are all critical for running your business in here. So do that. So we've got the LCCN. We've talked about that. We have talked about the ISBN. We've talked about the CIP. So where else do we go? What other goodies and what other essentials are things that you need? Well, I've mentioned the copyright page. Let me come back to that before we go to our next break. On the copyright page, where you're going to have the ISBN and your, the LCCN and then the CIP block if you get it, make sure you use the copyright symbol and followed by the year. So right now this year is 2016. Now, one of the things I'm going to suggest to you, we're early in the year. This is springtime right now. Once you hit September, if your book is going to be available for purchase from September on, I am going to advise you, do not put the current year's date. Put the next year's. And I get it. You're going to be, it's September 14th and you're going to have books in hand and I'm going to be selling them and I'm going to cheer for you to do that. But don't put, if it's this year's 2016, don't put 2016, put 2017. We only have 3 months in September to the end of the year. Basically, you're giving your book in the eyes of researchers, in libraries, in bookstore buying, a 3-month window that you're considered new. You're considered current. So I want you to fudge. Put the next year's copyright date so you give another year life to your book. Bookstores, when you're hustling them to bring in your book, if that's what you plan on doing it, if your copyright, again, this 216 says 215, skepticism. Now, if it's a perennial seller, they'll keep bringing it in. That's not the issue. But I'm talking about pitching new. Libraries will take books kind of up to 3 years. But after that, they start pulling the plug. So I want you to be tuned into that. Take advantage of it. All right, other things on the copyright, you're going to have the title. You may have a warning against copyright without permission. You could have a disclaimer mentioning, who you are, or if you're giving advice that deals with legal, accounting, medical, you might want to cover your tush here and just say that you need to consult a professional. Often we put on our copyright pages who the cover designer, interior, the editor, if there's a book consultant, that kind of thing. And of course, you always want to have the edition where it's been printed. Is it USA, Canada, China, Korea, etc.? All right. Well, those cover. That is your copyright page. We're going to come back. Lots more. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing, and I'm Judith Briles.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand, and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers, creating beautiful and well-made books. We're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so we're going through some of these essentials in the front matter of your book. And one of the things that you also want to consider when I've said that you went to My Identifiers and you got your ISBN, make sure on the cover of your book, back cover, that's where it belongs, that you have a barcode in it that will have your 978. And, you know, some of these places will say, what's your 10-digit ISBN number? 10-digit doesn't exist. They are 13 digits. Books will start with 978. Always. The next 5 digits come in and identify your publishing house. Literally, that's why the name is. And I'm telling you, when you buy them from a third party and not directly yourself from Bowker, it really identifies them. So those of you who have jumped on the Create Space bandwagon, that's Amazon's. They bought thousands of them. They probably bought 10,000 at a crack, and it identifies Amazon as Create Space as a publisher. Now, would you care? Maybe not, but I will tell you, if a bookstore would like to bring you in and they discover you're a create space person because your ISBN is going to tell them right away, they don't love Amazon. Brick and mortar bookstores don't love Amazon. So they, you might have some resistance, some hesitancy here. So on the back cover, in your barcode, and people say, oh, here's another thing. Bowker, when you go to get your ISBNs, they will say, would you like to have the corresponding barcode? And I would tell you, don't waste your money here. Any designer that I work with and I know of, they all have the ISBN apps on their book design formatting and software that they can make the ISBN that is not only, the barcode that will reflect your ISBN number, but also incorporate the price of your book. And they don't charge you for that. So I don't waste your money on that one. Now, why do you want the barcode to be on the back of your cover? Because Amazon wants it, and it's going to be your primary distributor for your book and your book selling. If you go with, and I would encourage all of you to make sure that your books are uploaded to Ingram Spark. And again, if you're an AuthorU.org member, you would get a discount with anything that you do via Ingram Spark on your printing, on your setups, on anything. All right, so if you go into that format, they're going to want you to have that barcode with your ISBN and the price of your book on the back of it. You also, some have the capability of your categories can actually get into it, because if you ever look at a lot of times the space on any book, just turn it over, go and study them. I'm going to encourage you to get yourself into a bookstore and just study the way the current books are. Often they will have the categories where we used to put them always at the upper left or upper right on a back cover. Sometimes they would go on the inside of, if it was a dust jacket book or a flap book, maybe on the inside of the inner flap. But typically it was on the upper left or right of a cover. Either way, a lot of times you can slip those in and not muck up the cover, leave it clean up there, and you can just incorporate into that space, that bar, and you could put business, self-help, medical, whatever your categories are, and don't take more than 3, because they do take up space. And they're going to be small, but again, this is all to get it there. Now, what the barcode does, if you have a purchase through any type of a retail outlet, aren't they all going to scan it? It's all going to get scanned. It'll get automatically coded in as soon as it does it. And that goes into the gods who keep track of retail sales, called Book Scan. So if there are any bookstore sales, including Amazon, by the way, it's all trackable. So you can get your name, your book out there, plus when a store is looking for your title, up if a customer asks for it, you are found. Now, another strategy here is maybe your game plan is to sell your book to New York. And a lot of authors have that as a game plan. And if that's your objective, boy, I'll cheerleader for you. And that what they will do is they can go into verify if you said you had 7,200 sales and they were done through the independent bookstore around the corner, they can find out in a nanosecond what your sales are. So if that's your game plan, you want to make sure that you have a book scannable barcode on the back of your book cover. So that's, that little tip going in with that. Now, a couple of other things that I wanted to bring up, and this is just like general information. It is easy to get swayed on which way do I go? What categories do we get into? And what I would do is you get into the book industry study group, the BISG. You go in there and you just do a Google search, go there, and they will have the latest categories. And but you're saying, but mine doesn't fit anything. These are general categories. Now, there are subsets, and as you click down, you will find them to see where you go. When you register your book on Amazon, their first run, at least for the print, not necessarily the Kindle, but at least for the print, will be based on the categories that come out from the Book Industry Study Group, the BISC, they're called. So you want to make sure that you are playing the game, that you have that in and you correlate with that. But then start clicking and dive down and see what the common goes. For example, I write for publishing. I write publishing and writing. My current book, very excited, it went up on Amazon for pre-orders yesterday, and it's called How to Avoid 101 Book Publishing Blunders, Bloopers, and Boo-Boos. It's about publishing, authors, writing. All right, that is not one of the categories. Where you will find me, for me, my writing, it will be under gulp reference. I mean, is that boring or what? But you think, that's really the business of publishing. Yes, it is, but it's not in the business category. So reference is where I would start, and then it would start drilling down into writing, publishing, etc. And so for you want to go through that same practice. And it's kind of fun, but go through the same practice. And here's something else. When you're trying to figure out your categories, you want to go on to, I would go to Amazon. Just stay in front of your computer for this one. And I would go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and I would look at the bestsellers in your primary category. So if it's business, what are the top selling books in the business category? What you will be able to do is, as you explore the individual pages for the book, and even if they're in the search inside, click on it so you can see the back cover, because you'll see the categories. What are they using? Emulate them, because that's what you're after. That's what the big boys are doing. You want to look, if you're an independent or a self-publisher, you'll want to look like what the big kids on the block are doing, because that's what you're competing with in that process, if that makes sense to you. So do that as a checkout, but make sure you have the right categories. Now, I inferred that there were some differences in Amazon's Kindle. Kindle has more categories, more variances than the print side does. The other side is, I've always told you that when you are setting up your account, once you go on Amazon, like for example, my new book is now up on Amazon. It's really not formally published till May 1st, but up on Amazon. And I already had some emails from people saying, hey, I ordered your book. Okay, so they can pre-order the book. It's up there. It also, because now I've got my book page up, and when I originally registered on Amazon in the account, that I got, what is my book? It's nonfiction. So I click nonfiction, or it gives me another category. So it has maybe 6 you get to choose from, and I can sure tell you none of them have publishing or writing on it. The closest thing was Gulp General. So then we have General. So now what I have to do is smile and dial, or better yet, smile and click. So I am going to go to the Amazon Central account, and you want all of you, please, 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 make sure that you get Author Central in your phone, in your radar. Set up an Author Central account where you can add in your book covers, other pictures, you can tie in your announcements, you can do your bios, your website can be put there, everything. Bring that into play. And just with one click, I'll just say I need a live chat. And it's not, do you want to do it online? No, I want someone to call me. Within 5 seconds, I will have a phone call. Within 5 seconds, a phone call. And they are extraordinarily helpful. And that's where I will do the deep dive and find the right category. So then I will go into publishing and writing, maybe book industry group, anything like that, to keep diving down to find the right category. Now, why do I care about that? Because I'll do a bestseller launch, where I'll let all my fans and friends know, okay, today's the day. Today's the day. If you love me, go buy my book, type of thing. And we'll be pushing for bestseller status on Amazon. And you can get that complicated. I'll come back and do another updated show on how you do bestseller. You can hire people, you can pay thousands and thousands of dollars, or I'll just show you how you can do it quick yourself. But when you have that, you want to bring that up, and you get this live person from Author Central, and they will help you get in the right category. So that's secret sauce, secret sauce, and it's the cat's meow to be able to have that. So that is a must do in that area. So Amazon, Author Central, make sure you get into the right categories that are fit for your book, your fans who are following you, where you want to develop. If you don't, you're going to be out in la la land here. And you want to make sure that you bring that into play. So Amazon's your friend. Do they take a discount? Yes. Stop moaning and groaning it. I tell people, get over it. It's the same as a bookstore. It's the same as a warehouse. It's the same as a distributor. If you were selling to the bookstore, you would be giving roughly a 50 to a 60% discount off your retail price. Amazon's going to snag 55%. And you ship books when they, request them and add to their inventory. So that's part of doing business. Publishing is a business. This is the things we're going through today to learn the essentials, the component to make you a publishing star as you begin to build your publishing empire. This is Judith Briles. You're listening to AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. We'll be right back with our final segment.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
One of the most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level, and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so you're putting your book together. So you're off getting you've got your ISBN, you're going to get, and you get your LCCN, by the way, after you have your ISBNs, because you need to put your ISBN into applying for an LCCN or your CIP. So with that said, what about contracts? What about working with people? What about individuals who are going to put your book together? It could be a book consultant, it could be an editor, it could be a cover designer, it could be the interior designer, it could be a cartoonist, it could be an illustrator, it could be someone who says, it could be a printer. Okay, so what is it that you need to do? What's the common thing? And it's going to be a contract or a lock-up contract. And that what's important here is for you to understand that publishing service contractors, we'll just put everybody in that kind of category right here, that they often will have a contract. I know with my book shepherding clients, my contract is 4 pages that I go through, because I go through in phases of this is what we're going to do in each phase. As we happen, I give estimates of cost as we reach out and we start bringing in other people in that arena. So, there some of them are guesstimates, some of them I know are hard cost, but most of them come, like I do, with some kind of a contract to understand what you're getting into. And here's the important thing: how do you get out of it if it's necessary? Now, I will tell you, in my contract, I also have a get out clause. Because a lot of times authors don't step up to the plate. They don't deliver. And what you need to understand, especially with the work I do as a book shepherd, that when I'm into your book and all of a sudden you decide to disappear for a couple of months, it's like I have to start all over again. I've got to refamiliarize myself with everything about the book, to recapture your voice, to do a variety of things, and you're going to end up spending more money. Or it could be that, I actually fired a client not too long ago that really, they turned into a downright bully. Okay, I just won't do that. I just won't handle that. And then the other thing is, I will say in my contract that these are my commitments to you that I'm going to do, but you have to be committed to me. And your commitment to me is you're going to deliver a manuscript that I can immediately move in with some slight adjustments into a formal editing process. If it's not in that shape, that means it has to be rewritten, and then the contract has to change, because I'm not a ghost, although I have rewritten a lot of books. So it's something that you need to understand. Read it closely. That's the bottom line. Now, with that said, I don't want you to sign any contracts until you really understand what you're signing away with a traditional publisher. Let's start there. And that authors who sign a publishing-related contract to, whether it's create, produce, sell, publicize, etc., the book, through a traditional publisher, don't jump into it. Actually, don't jump into anything until you really understand what's underneath the water, what the currents could be, where you could be sucked in, even drowned. You need to really read through every clause. Don't get caught up in the euphoria that a publisher wants me. And also clearly understand the contract that you get into. Don't be seduced by, say, a pay-to-publish operation, that you have a publisher. You're paying them to do work. You really don't have a publisher. And there are a whole set of red flags, and I'll come back and do a whole program on red flags again, on publishing predators. But there's a whole set of red flags that you can see very quickly. One example is, we guaranteed national distribution. Let me tell you, if you put your book on print on demand with Ingram Spark, for example, Ingram is the largest distributor in the world of books. By definition, once you're in their catalog and you're findable, guess what? You have distribution, even if it's one frickin' book at a time. So understand this stuff. My tip here is, if you don't get what it says, you want to engage a business attorney or an intellectual property attorney who specializes in literary. It's worth at least 2 hours of their time. And too many authors let their egos go, as in, I have that publishing contract, my publisher wants the book, and they are clueless as to what they're getting into. For one, the publishing contract is just not like any other contract that I've ever seen. And I've had 18 of them, because 18 of my books have been with traditional publishers. And contracts are rarely done in your best interest. They're always in the person who writes them. So it's designed for the publisher or the publishing provider. So get some feedback here. Next is, only sign with a publisher to publish your book if it includes, and this is really important, with a reversion of rights clause. Now, this used to be very common when I first started publishing in the 80s. They are not common now. And a reversion in rights basically means, hey, the book is out of print, and of course, with print on demand, it can be printed in perpetuity, one book at a time. But what it did is that when it got into low runs, there was little demand for the book, they would typically go back to the author saying, we've really enjoyed publishing your book, but time has come to the end, and we're going to revert the rights back to you. It was lovely. They don't do that anymore. So what you want to do is make sure that you put back into that contract that you can terminate the contract with a 30-day notice, or 6 months, or whatever that has. But you want to put it back into that if it's reached a certain time, and I would put if less than 300 print books are purchased within a year's period of time, or 6 months, you decide where you want to go. I would probably go with a year. Within that year's period of time, then you, the author, have the right to terminate the contract with no strings attached. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to turn over their files to you and their layout. I mean, that's their layout. Doesn't mean they're going to give you the design of the cover either, right? But you could possibly buy it. I mean, I remember buying plates and things on that. So make sure that you do that on that, and that you want to make sure you have in a traditional contract a first right to remainder books. So let's say that I had a couple of publishing houses go out of business on me. I had a couple of publishing houses merge in with other publishing houses, and they decided to let go of some of their books. You want to have the right to get the inventory at their cost. And I know I had a book with Word, and Thomas Nelson bought them. I was able to get my book for hardback for 85 cents a book, and I resold them for $20 a book. I mean, originally the publishing house had a $10.95 price tag on it. I started playing around with the price. I raised it to $12.95, no resistance. I raised it to $15, no resistance. And I thought, what the heck? $20, the book sold out. So that you want to make sure that you have the first right to purchase any leftover inventory at a reduced price. You will thank me on that. Just make sure that you don't do anything, sign anything away you do not understand. And then the last thing I want to make sure in this kind of part, before we jump over to another section here with contracts, is that if you are using any lyrics, music, make sure, no exceptions, you have written permission from the company or the individual who owns the rights, because they will go after you. And the single best thing to do is actually have it written up and show them where they can get where you're using the lyrics. Right now I'm working on a book that has extensive music lines in them. And I have a meeting with the author this afternoon, and I said, we can't, either these are removed, all of them, or you show me where you have reached out for permissions, and we have them. And they will tell you exactly, and by the way, on the copyright page, you will have the language that says what the permissions are. That's very common. So those are things going that. Please do not sign any contract. And this is where you're going to get with self-publishing companies and pay to publish. Do not sign any contract that again, you don't understand. But there's a lovely little phrase that I'm seeing pop up more and more that says, and they say, oh, yeah. You can get out. You can terminate your contract in 30 days. And then they have this little caveat that says, if it's mutually agreeable. Well, what the heck does that mean? If you decide you want out and the other person, the other entity says no, how can you get to mutually agreeable? It's got to say that when you give written notice, you're out. Now, they may say, but we have inventory of your books. Okay, that you're going to have to buy them. You need to flatten them out and get out. But make sure you don't get into anything. And then the other thing, you need to make sure you understand the difference between exclusive and non-exclusive contracts. Don't give everything away. I wouldn't be giving away my electronic rights if I could. You keep that stuff. I would be keeping my audio rights, so you can do that instead of letting someone else do that. And there's a great book I'm going to recommend to you. In fact, I've had her on the show, Helen Sedgwick, and it's the Self-Publisher's Legal Handbook. Lots of great tips to have on that. So those are kind of some publishing sparks, some publishing essentials that I want you to be tuned into as you start down this amazing path, this amazing journey. I can't imagine doing anything else. And although I've been publishing now for over 30 years, what I love best is this is what I do full time. And that if that's one of your goals, you certainly can do it. But you need a game plan. You need to have a variety of things come into play and to understand the legals of what you can do and what you can't do. And you want to make sure that you can compete with any of the big boys that come off. And there are so many companies and individuals out there who can bring your books to life and make them really shine. And as we close off, I want to encourage all of you. I'd love to have you come play with me in June 23rd to the 25th. I will do my annual Judith Briles Unplugged event. It's June 23rd to the 25th. 3 amazing days just with me. One day, the first day, the 23rd, is all about gizmos and gadgets. All the goodies that I use to communicate with, to be, so I have social media sanity, but also some really fun tools and tricks of the trade that you can take, learn in an hour and you never have to go back to them again, but it helps soar your social media presence. Then I'm going to get you into how to create a speech that will sell 1 million books. How'd you like to do that? And also there's some creativity, some goal setting. I'm going to take you into goal plans, and it's just very exciting. So if you're interested, go to thebookshepherd.com. That's my website, thebookshepherd.com. Click on events and sign up. Right now we're in our early bird period. I'd love to have you come play with me. And if you want to know how, learn how, work with me on how to write a book, how's that, in 4 weeks? Then the how to write a book in 4 weeks, that's also under events. We do that in person in Denver in May. In April, we'll be doing it online. And with that, I'll bid you adieu. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Much success to you in your writing and publishing. We'll be back with you next week. And next week, we'll be deep diving into how to monetize your publishing. I'm Judith Briles. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each week, a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take you, the author, to the next level. You'll learn tips and secrets on how to create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve book publishing success by making one very simple change in your book's journey. How to avoid the publishing predators. How to create an author and book platform that rocks. Learn how to make a living with your words and your books. Learn how to publish a book that has no regrets, and so much more. For more information, check out AuthorU.org, where authors who want to be seriously successful go. And Judith's website, thebookshepherd.com. Then join us again here next week for more. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on the Rockstar Radio Network.